preaching for President Rodrigo Roa Duterte and so for everyone about USA and British invasion of Iraq, wishing that President Rodrigo Roa Duterte will not take this video as an attack to him, as to cause him mad. In the name of our Lord, I am preaching for a president to please know the true Lord, which is indeed the Lord of the existing church of God, the Roman Catholic Church, and as a president to be decorous in his tongue and act as a statesman should be. Whatever chance in his life, this video, like as the writing in the Bible, must remain to be viewed as to forever prevent and suppress the moral ascendancy. Such a things that must not be done by such leader of a nation is to make a speech against nations, criticizing what was being done before, as of accusing them in wrong, or as for no such good reason, rooted just from being advised about drug war, which was just not good, and abuse of foreign leaders, learning of killing majority of poor drug users and poor drug sellers and couriers, with their absence of knowledge that the illegal drugs in the Philippines is rampant and can no longer be stopped by the system of the government and officials, as to which there is indeed nothing wrong for what was being imposed by President Duterte. Besides of being warm, they still continue on illegal drugs. But indeed, there is no reason for President Duterte to exceedingly use unusual retaliation through slanderous words and criticisms against these nations. Just a firm speech is enough, either they will accept it or not, as long as President Duterte was not indeed being intervened by their actions, as it is just a word of advice. These slanderous words and harsh criticism and accusations of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte without reliable basis is a serious provocation to them, which the petty victims are the citizenry of the country. Video time 1 seconds. First of all, you must know the main reasons as why they were being invaded, as it is indeed being said as connected to terrorism that endangering the lives of such nations, and as about tyranny, that is why they were being welcomed by the citizens of Iraq. If that reason is not indeed true, as was just being invaded for such unacceptable reason, then for sure many countries in Middle East will react. How could it not be believed that USA or the NATO did like ended war? See, the Ukraine was the friend nation that was being seized by Russia. They did not do such action that could trigger Putin to use the nuclear weapons, and that world war will not be triggered, sacrificing the lives of Ukrainians as for the hundreds of millions of lives in the earth. Video time 30 seconds. But as about weapons of mass destruction, it is either true or not, meaning since it is also included into what was being accused to them, possible that it was being abolished or transferred immediately, or as there is none indeed, as was just mere suspicion only. But put in mind that the said chemical weapon is also a weapon of mass destruction. The Twin Tower bombing was believed to be bombed with chemical weapons, as the steel foundation melted, as the administration of Saddam was believed to be connected with the ISIS and Al-Qaeda, or Syria, the terrorist group, there is a chemical weapons that they already using it. In fact, USA or NATO ever since did not attack such nation in a reason of weapon of mass destruction, unless being used. But since the one to be sieged was being accused of being involved in terrorism, so it is so dangerous for them to have weapon of mass destruction, so as must be dismantled. So this will justify that the attack is really because of terrorism, or being connected to terrorism and tyranny. Video time 45 seconds. Oh, these people around you are intellectual. Even they know the truth, they will not go up in that stage, as they are aware of not putting you to shame, or that you might be put to shame. Video time 53 seconds. Again, the main reasons indeed are terrorism and tyranny, that are what was not denied by the UN and by the other nations. What nations indeed stand to reckon it and proves that it is not about terrorism and tyranny. Video time 59 seconds. In what sense USA undermining Libya? And in what sense USA putting in turmoil Egypt? If you read anywhere that the USA was involved, you will know it is because USA want to settle the peace in that nation or nations, likely of what was being destroyed by such factions in that nation or nations, and as USA helping their economy. But when there is a leader that was elected which is having his own decision, opposition to the standard being set by the USA that was also accepted by the citizens of that nation or of that nations, likely the ruling of that leader is violation to the United Nations and human rights, then the UN authorized the USA and its allies to battle that nation or nations. So meaning, even if any nation not accepting economic help from USA, as if any nation is exercising which is against the standard of the United Nations and of the human rights, that nation will be battled by the decision of the UN. And put in mind that anyone who has a willpower and knowing such good things but not doing it is a sin, or it is a general characteristic of those who are strong or brave as to intervene as for His glory, but for those who are righteous is for God's will. Video time 1 minute and 18 seconds. Keep in mind that generally any critical action by the USA and NATO goes through the decision of the United Nations, so meaning it was being contemplated first before being executed. You keep criticizing the USA or the NATO members without knowing the reason as why they attacked the Syria, as the Syria uses their chemical weapons. Thus the members of NATO was tend to attack the Syria so to lessen the number of the Syrian chemical weapons. Video time 1 minute and 26 seconds. Always be careful of what to say. Good that the USA always love the nation itself, Philippines, so they are always so patient to such Philippines president who are not friendly to them, as they understand the president is being replaced every term. Video time 1 minute and 36 seconds. It is not the USA executive government who wants to show you. It is just institutions. But as to the national leaders or highest officials, they are just advising you. For if there is foreign executive government want to show you, then they will have worked together for it to bring it in you in. That is form of advice, not a one of threatening. Concerning of what you said, Philippines will be removed from United Nations. As to which, it is not for the leader of the nation, which is underdeveloped, to boost, even to be removed from United Nations. Who then will protect the Philippines if being conquered, like for example by China? The fact in such case, other leader or leaders of nations could indeed harm other nation. If the leader of the other nation is indeed doing such inhuman action, or which is really against the standard of the United Nations or of human rights, or as if in only if it is really a good one, as a good one also means a good advice. Video time 1 minute and 31 seconds. They want to persecute you as not be their fault. It is the fault of your fellow Filipinos who want to show you unreasonably. They are the ones who accept as they brought false testimony and false evidence there, so they blame and still under them. Although the fact there are indeed such intentional carelessness as even could kill an innocent, that cannot be denied, as it is a matter of sacrifices that cannot be avoided, because no one can absolutely know the situation of those who impose the law. And in difficult situation, leader cannot control at all time such exerted or inserted decision of those who impose the law. Video time 1 minute and 46 seconds. Oh, as I've said, good those officials of these nations are not childish anymore, so as to mind your harsh words. Just for your own reasons, you could kill them, but couldn't fight for the loss of the Philippines. Video time 1 minute and 56 seconds. Oh, what boundaries? The video showing the West Philippine Sea and the China president. But President Rodrigo Roa Duterte obviously referring to President Obama when President Rodrigo Roa Duterte says, "Don't do it, I will kill you." Then continue as he says, "Do not enter my boundaries because if you hurt the people there, I will go to war." These words couldn't be referred at all to China president because President Rodrigo Roa Duterte was warned that it will be a war if President Rodrigo Roa Duterte will act to stop the China, and as the China is already in that boundary. So the boundary that President Rodrigo Roa Duterte is referring is the land of Philippines itself. So why will President Obama will hurt the Filipinos, as Obama is even pity for the lives of the drug addicts? And that those who are concerned just want that the drug pushers and drug addicts must just be imprisoned. It's not good for President to warn other like that words. You are too far from just a simple case. Your enemies is not their president or government. They're just advising you. Those who want to show you are those such institutions. Video time 2 minutes and 14 seconds. You don't want to mix the Philippines to them, but allowing overseas Filipino workers to work there. And USA is the top and major trading partners of the Philippines. Why still accepting trade or helps from these countries? Video time 2 minutes and 13 seconds. accusing them people of convoluted and ancient theories of how to run civilization, whereas he said progressive countries. So how could it be? And as of not looking first the reputation of his country, likely about politics, election, corruption. Look how worse the Filipinos accusing each others about their governance. The point of view, what nation has no evilness? Video time 2 minutes and 36 seconds. Province of Aleppo in Syria was being battled starting 2012 to 2016 and 17 because of rebel groups which was also connected to ISIS against the regime of Syrian President Assad. It is not just USA who helped President Assad, but also the Russian airstrike. And the ISIS did not only start at the time ISIS was established by the year of 1999, which was also connected to Al-Qaeda, founded by the year 1988. Video time 2 minutes and 55 seconds. How could you see that the USA is the one who imported or gives importance to violence? Just resists for all the reasons as why USA engaged in war. As it is not for USA's favor but for others. As USA engaged in war to end violence or oppression of such nation or groups. Video time 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Into what case you are trying to say that USA, etc. stolen or took off the oil? Only in the war it could be done as it is in the term of plunder, not as stolen. It is legal even in the Bible. If any country wherein wrong are being defeated in battle, it is legal to take off their wealth as it is the compensation for the amount that was being consumed or expended by the one who won the battle, not unless the one who battled is the one in wrong. Then anything that they took off could be called as unreasonable robbing. Video time 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Again, Iraq was being battled mainly because of terrorism and tyranny, as the ISIS was established there, connected to Al-Qaeda of Osama bin Laden. Syria has a chemical weapons, and the rebels there concerning Aleppo are connected to ISIS chemical weapons, as could also means weapons of mass destruction. So these things could be related to things or peoples being involved. Video time 3 minutes and 37 seconds. The US attack to Afghanistan is connected to Osama bin Laden of suicide plane bombing of the Twin Towers, which being suspected being bombed with chemical weapon. As the result, as well as the foundation of the two buildings melted. More or less 6 years passed as to assure the intelligence investigation before US attacked the Afghanistan. It is unintellectual as to criticize that action, for it will just miss as just to allow the terrorism remain to exist and to continue their terrorism. And it is unintellectual to criticize that there are so many children or civilians was killed, as it is in generality that in war there are always sacrifices. Our president must not be talking senseless, as without relating it first to the attack of other nations to the NATO or European nations before or after the European attacking other nations for a reasonable cause. And think about also the siege of Marawi. Video time 3 minutes and 39 seconds. The US attack of North Vietnam as it helps the South Vietnam from the attack of the Communist Party that influenced or attacking some citizens of South Vietnam, as to stop also the spread of communism to the neighboring countries. As the US is a good country, so they never used their nuclear or bombs against North Vietnam at that time. Even though from 57,220 casualties, it is 47,434 US soldiers was killed. So try to know first the reasons as why US engaged in battles, sacrificing their soldiers and economy. They never engaged in war as to grab other countries unlike others, as though they ruled the Philippines for 47 years from being freed from Spanish, but developed the Philippines and gives more jobs and allow the Filipinos to reside to their land, USA, where the Philippines populations also grows bigger. They said the economy of USA is going down and becoming poor. So it is moronic to say that war is the business of USA. USA is not able to continue engaging in war for other nations as if the war is really their business that makes their economy to recede. The USA is a protector of the oppressed and those at risk.
America and Britain invaded Iraq. with all the hula-baloo and pronouncement that had weapons of mass destruction. After killing so much of the soldiers, the Republican guards of Saddam, and killed Saddam in the process, they found out, with all its might and technology and human intelligence, that there was no weapons of mass destruction. If somebody could explain it to me that it was right, stand there in front of me right now, that after all it was right to invade Iraq even without the weapons of mass destruction, undermining Libya, wanting to destroy Assad, putting in turmoil Egypt. Was there an explanation? Was there a digest? You know, this guy are really convoluted idiots. When you say you want to prosecute me for what? It is not crime in my country, especially a president to warn, and even any president for that matter, or tell me, do not do it because I will kill you. Do not enter my boundaries because if you hurt the people there, I will go to war. I just don't know what's happening with the idiots in the other side. Why should I mix my country where the people, what they said, are very convoluted and almost insane theories of how to run civilization? Look at Aleppo, when they could have just stopped it, but because earlier they were supplying the arms of the rebels against Syria. It was born out of the desperation of the radicals and rebels of Libya and Syria. That is the beginning of ISIS. America imported terrorism in their own territories, not by human beings. There in America itself, and who was the first to enter the land and took off with the fat of the land? Oil. British, American, French, Italian. Who imported violence? America. Tell me that it was right to invade Iraq, even without the mass. That was the only thing that kept them going. But there was these weapons of mass destruction. How many died? How many children died in the bombing of Afghanistan? How many died in the invasion of Vietnam, only to lose it after several decades and to burn the families there? How many times has this to be repeated